Hi viewers, welcome to All4C Learning and welcome back to class 8 physics session number 6, and the chapter we are discussing is friction. In the previous classes we have discussed about what is friction and various types of friction. With the help of an toy trolley we observed the static friction as well as the sliding friction. What is the static friction? The friction comes into play when one object is rest over the surface of another object, and the friction is called here static friction. Even when the force is applied on the object, this object is at rest position. Now the friction between this object and the surface is known as the static friction. Same way, the sliding friction, it comes into play when one body slides over the another body related to each other. The friction between the sliding body surface and the floor is known as the sliding friction. These topics we have discussed in the previous session. Now continuation, the next topic is observing the variation of friction. Just we are trying to understand the variations of friction here. Let us understand this with the help of an activity. Let's say this is floor. A box is placed on the floor. Push a heavy box which is kept on this floor with a small force. With a small force you just push it. Of course the box does not move, you know very well. The thing is, it is because of the frictional force between the box and the floor, the box does not move forward here in the direction of the applied force. It is just because of the frictional force between the box surface and this floor. The box does not move. As you increase the applied force, still this box does not move because the frictional force also increases accordingly here, and which balances the applied force. This frictional force also increases and it is balancing this applied force. Now from this activity we understand that the static friction which is there between this surface of this box and the floor, the static friction is a self-adjusting force. The thing is, the friction between this box surface and this floor is a static friction because it is at rest position, right? So the friction is nothing but here static friction, and this static friction is a self-adjusting force. I hope you are following the class. Now thing is, but this static friction also having a limit, certain limit, it is also having a certain limit. As you go on increasing the applied force, at a particular point the box starts moving. The box begins to start. At a particular point of this static friction, this box begins to move, which is known as, here this friction is, as I said that the static friction is involved here and which is opposite to the applied force, the static friction. At a maximum point of static friction, this box ready to move here. So the thing is, when the box ready to begin here means the applied force which is acting on this box should be greater than the limit static friction should be greater than the limit static friction. This frictional force should be maximum, then only the box ready to move here on this floor. I hope you understand, children. One more time I am repeating. When this box ready to move means the frictional force which is present between this box and the floor is maximum static friction, and if you apply the force more than this maximum static friction, if the applied force is more than the maximum static friction, then only the box ready to move on the floor. Once the box is sliding on the surface, now the friction between the box and the floor is called sliding friction. Earlier, when you apply the force, the box does not move. There the friction exists between surface of this box and the floor is static friction. But it is also having a limit. At particular point, the box ready to move. That particular frictional force is called maximum limiting friction. At that point only this box ready to move. Once if the box ready to move, then that friction force is called maximum frictional force. And when it is moving on this floor, we can say that the friction exists here, that is called nothing but sliding friction. Sliding friction is existing when this box is sliding over the surface. I hope you understand this concept. This is nothing but variations of friction. First static friction we have observed here in this case, and later sliding friction also we have observed here in this case. Next, moving to the next topic. Factors affecting the force of friction. Factors affecting the force of friction. Which means that frictional force depends upon what factors? What factors influencing this force of friction? Very simple concept. This frictional force depends upon two things actually here. One is the nature of surface and another one is the normal force. Nature of surface, nature of the surface. Second one is the normal force. And one more thing is there, but that is independent of this force of friction. Third one is the area of contact. Area of contact, which is independent of the force of friction. Generally we think that area of contact also depends on this friction force, but area of contact do not depend upon this frictional force. Frictional force depends upon two factors here. One is the nature of surface and the normal force, and it is independent on this area of contact. Now let us understand these three things with the help of an activities. First one is factor on nature of surface. Sir, continue. Next one is effect of surface on friction. Effect of nature of surface on friction. As I said that the frictional force depends upon the nature of surface. Now let us understand that with the help of an activity. Okay, I hope you are following this class. Is a horizontal floor. Is a horizontal floor, horizontal wooden floor. Now an inclined plane is arranged an inclined plane on this horizontal wooden floor, as this is horizontal wooden floor. Horizontal wooden floor. Now I have arranged an inclined plane on this horizontal wooden floor. I have taken a long wooden board here which is acting like an inclined plane. Okay. Now let put a mark at any point on this inclined plane, let's say A. This is the mark which is there on the inclined plane, and its name of this mark is the point A. Now take a ball and just place it at this point. What happens? You know, that ball rolls and finally it is moving along this horizontal wooden floor. I hope you understand this. Just the thing is, a horizontal wooden floor I have taken and I have arranged an inclined plane over this horizontal wooden floor. This horizontal, this one is nothing but a wooden block. This one, a wooden flat surface is arranged to form an inclined plane here. Now I marked a point at any one point on the surface and I am saying it is A. Now I have taken a ball and I just placed it at this point A. Now allow the ball to roll down on this wooden floor. It covers certain distance on this wooden floor. Let's say the ball reached this point and finally it comes to the rest position. Now second case, over this horizontal wooden floor you arrange a cloth. Now repeat the same process. Allow the ball to roll down on this cloth. Now, what did you observe from these two activities? The thing is, the ball rolls over the horizontal wooden floor. Over the horizontal wooden floor, it covers longer distance when compared to the this cloth. The thing is, the ball has covered longer distance over the horizontal wooden floor when compared to the cloth. Just keep it aside. One more activity let us do. Now I am placing a marble surface over this horizontal wooden floor. Now allow the ball to roll down this horizontal marble surface. It covers certain distance on this marble surface. Now remove this horizontal marble surface and arrange a glass surface over this horizontal wooden floor. And again allow the ball to roll on the glass surface. Now in which of these two cases the ball has covered longer distance? Of course it is very easy to say that over the glass surface the ball has covered longer distance. Whereas in the previous case, over the horizontal wooden floor the ball has covered longer distance when compared to this cloth. Now in the present case the ball has covered longer distance over the glass surface. Why does it happen? Why the ball covering longer distance over the smooth surfaces when compared to the rough surfaces? If you have observed, glass surface is a smooth surface and the wooden floor is also smooth surface when compared to the cloth. So over these surfaces the ball has covered longer distances when compared to the marble floor and when compared to the cloth. Why does this happen? It is just because of the smoothness and roughness of this surface. The smoothness and roughness affecting the distance travelled by the ball on the surface. Smoothness and roughness only affecting the distance travelled by the ball on the surface. I hope you understand this. Actual thing is, this flat surface, the surface looks like a flat, but so many irregularities present on these surfaces. It may be marble surface or it may be cloth or it may be wooden floor also. The surface is looking like a flat, but so many irregularities present on this surface. Irregularity is nothing but so many small up and downs are present on this surface. So it is just because of these up and downs, the ball may cover longer distance over the smooth surface and the ball may cover less distance on the rough surface here. Over the smooth surface, the irregularities are very less. So the opposing force is less. Over the rough surface, the irregularities are more, up and downs are more. So the opposing force is more. So that's why the ball covers a short distance over the rough surfaces. Actually this frictional force arises because of the irregularities present on the two surfaces which are in contact. It is because of the irregularities on the surfaces. on the two surfaces which are in contact. These irregularities gets interlocked each other, get locked into each other. When you try to push one object over the surface, the interlockings present on one surface get locked into the another surface. So that's why we feel difficult to push or move any object. To overcome this, we need to apply a force that should be overcome this interlocking. Then only the body can move very easily on the surface. So from this we understand that over the rough surfaces, the interlockings, over the rough surface, the many up and downs are there, and interlockings are also more when any body is pushed over this rough surface. So the force of friction is more on the rough surface and it is less on the smooth surface. So now we can say that frictional force depends upon the nature of surface. I hope you understand, children. Finally, I will conclude this. Over the smooth surface, the irregularities are less, so the opposing force is less. So we can say frictional force is less. That's why the ball has covered a longer distance. Whereas over the rough surface, many up and downs are there. When one body try to move on this rough surface, the body which is having interlockings, these interlockings get locked into the surface interlockings. So it is very hard for us to push this body over the rough surface. We can also say that more opposing force is present. If it is more opposing force, more frictional forces arises over the rough surfaces. I hope you understand this concept. Now I will move into the next concept. Second one is effect of area of contact. Area of contact on friction. Effect of area of contact on friction. As I said that this area of contact does not depend on the frictional force. Let us prove that now here in this case. Effect of area of contact on friction. Now the thing is, the things required to do this activity is spring balance, a brick, and this is the floor, and this is spring balance. Yeah, look at this arrangement. I have taken a brick and a spring balance to do this activity. Now tie this, just arrange the string around this brick here. You can see I just surrounded a string around this brick. Now spring balance is fixed to this string at this end. You can see the spring balance is fixed to this string at this end, and the other end is being pulled with the help of this hand. The other end of this spring, a person is applying the force to move this brick. I hope you understand this. This is the arrangement. Initially, the brick is placed on the surface horizontal like this. This is the horizontal position of the brick. The horizontal position of the brick is placed on this floor. Now just move this brick with the help of this spring balance. The thing is, we are applying force on this spring balance to move the brick here. We are applying force on the spring balance to move the brick. What is the purpose of this spring balance? spring balance is a device which is used to find the applied force. As we are applying the force on the spring balance, with the help of this applied force only we can able to move this brick. To find out the applied force, we are using the spring balance here. I hope you understand, children. The thing is, we are applying force on the spring balance to move the brick, whereas spring balance gives us the magnitude of the applied force. I hope you understand. Now let us understand about this spring balance. When you apply force on the spring balance, the spring is stretched. So there is a change in length in this spring balance. There is a change in length of the spring in this spring balance. This change in length in spring balance is directly proportional to the applied force. So when you apply force on the spring balance, the scale in the spring balance moves, which gives the value of applied force in newtons, whereas in terms of some spring balance may be in terms of kilogram weights also. Let's say the spring balance used here is giving the values in terms of the newtons. The thing is, my aim is to pull this brick with the help of this spring balance, whereas the applied force on the spring balance, so that this brick is moving in this direction. In this direction the brick is moving. Okay, I hope you understand this concept. Now the thing is, when you pull this spring balance, the brick does not move because of the frictional force between the brick and the floor. Because of frictional force between the brick and the floor, the brick does not move. Now tell me, how many forces are acting on the brick here? First let me draw the free body diagram of this brick. This is the brick. Applied force in this direction, and force of friction is opposite to the applied force. When you apply force on the spring balance, the brick may not move here. It is because of the frictional force between the brick and the floor. So there are total two forces are acting on this brick. One is the applied force, you can see here. Another one is the frictional force. So it is just because of the frictional force the brick may not move on this floor. Now keep on increasing the applied force. If you just increase the applied force at one particular point, the frictional force at one particular point, the friction force reaches to the maximum, which we call limit of the frictional force, limit of the static frictional force. If we apply more force, than this static friction, then this limit of static friction, then the brick ready to move. That maximum static friction is equal to the applied force here. Once again, children, let me explain. The thing is, when you pull this spring balance, the brick may not move, children, here because of the frictional force between the brick and this floor. Now as you go on increasing the applied force, at one particular instant the brick ready to move. At that point the frictional force between the brick and the floor is called maximum static friction. That maximum static friction is equal to applied force. When means when the brick ready to move. When the brick ready to move, in that case only the applied force is equal to maximum static friction. So now we got maximum static friction here. The maximum static friction we have got. When the brick ready to move, in that case only I am saying at that particular instant, the applied force is equal to maximum static friction, or we can also say that limit of the frictional force, maximum limit of the frictional force, nothing but maximum static friction also we call. Now the thing is, second case, let's say the brick is kept upright position. Now here it is like this. You can see here second case. The first case, the brick is kept horizontal position on this floor. Second case, the brick is kept upright position, erect position on this floor. Now in this case, if you observe, the area of contact with the floor, the area of contact by this brick on this floor is less, whereas the area of contact here by the brick on the floor is more here. The area of contact is more here, as the brick is lying on the floor horizontally. The area of contact is more here, whereas the brick is kept upright over the floor here. The area of contact is less. Now repeat the same process as you have done here in the previous case. Just pull the brick with the help of this applied force, with the help of this spring balance. We are pulling the brick with the help of this spring balance. Nothing but we are applying force on the spring balance, so that the brick ready to move. When the brick ready to move, nothing but the applied force is equal to maximum limit of this friction. Here also we got a maximum limit of the friction, F, maximum limit of the friction. When the brick ready to move, the applied force is equal to maximum limit of the friction. If you just observe these two values, here maximum limit of friction and there maximum limit of friction, if you observe, both values are same only. As the brick is lying horizontal on the surface here, as the brick is lying vertically on the surface here, but in the both the cases, the maximum limit of frictions are same. So here the frictional force and here the frictional force, both are same. Now we can conclude this like this. The area of contact, so frictional force does not depend upon the area of contact. Here more area of contact with the floor, here less area of contact with the floor. But in the both the cases, the frictional force arised is the same. The frictional force reading shown in the spring balance is the same. So now we can say that the frictional force does not depend upon the this area of contact. I hope you understand this concept. Now I will move into the next concept. Third one is effect of normal reaction or normal force. Effect of normal force on the friction. As I said in the previous case, the frictional force depend upon the normal force. Okay, let us understand with the help of an activity this also. The thing is same like the previous case. Is the brick placed on the surface? Brick is placed horizontally on the surface. Yeah, you can see here the string is surrounded, the string is kept around this brick and spring balance is tied to this string here, you can see. Now you just pull this brick with the help of this spring balance. If you apply force on the spring balance, then automatically the brick also start moving here. Now when the brick ready to move, the applied force reading is shown in this spring balance, and the frictional force acts here in opposite direction, and this is the applied force. Initially when you apply force, the brick does not move because of the frictional force between the brick and the floor, as we have discussed in the previous case. Now when the brick is ready to begin, when the brick is ready to move, in that case the frictional force between the brick and the floor is called maximum limit of the friction. That maximum limit of the friction is equal to the applied force, and that applied force reading is shown in this spring balance. So the applied force which is shown in this spring balance is equal to maximum limit of the friction when the brick is ready to move. When the brick is ready to move, the applied force is equal to maximum limit of the friction. Maximum limit of the friction. I hope you understand. Now we have got a maximum limit of friction in this case. Now, second case, arrange one more brick over this first brick. One more brick is arranged over this first brick. Now try to pull this brick with the help of this spring balance. Of course, the bricks does not move. It is just because of the frictional force between this brick and this floor. If you go on increasing the applied force, at some particular point, these two bricks together ready to move. Now the frictional force between these two bricks and the floor is nothing but maximum limit of the friction, and that can be known by the reading of the spring balance here. The applied force is equal to maximum limit of the static friction. But in this case, the second case, the maximum limit of friction value is different when compared to the previous case. It is just because here the weight of the bricks increased. As I have used one more brick here, the weights of the bricks are increased. If the weights of the bricks are increased, the normal force also increases. It is just because of the increase in the normal force, so the maximum limit of the friction force also increases. Earlier, in the case of only one brick, we have got maximum limit of the force of friction. That value is different when the two bricks are used here. In this case, we have also got the maximum limit of the friction. These two values are different. It is just because the normal force increased here. It is just because of the increase in the normal force, the maximum limit of the friction force also increases. I hope you understand this concept. Now finally we can conclude that force of friction depends upon the normal force. As the weight of the body increases, the weight of the body get balanced by another force called normal force. Weight of the body acts here. This weight of the body gets balanced by another force called normal force. So if you go on increasing the weights, the normal force also increases. If normal force increases, the force of friction also increases. So we can say that frictional force depends upon the normal force or weight of the body also we can say. I hope you understand this. Next topic is in the previous case I said that frictional force depends upon the normal force. So frictional force is directly proportional to the normal force. As the normal force increases, the frictional force also increases. The same we have observed in the previous case. When I have taken two bricks, the frictional force is increased, we observed. It is just because of weight of the bricks increases. If weight of the bricks increases, normal reaction increases. So as normal reaction increases, the frictional force also increases. So frictional force is directly proportional to the normal reaction. I hope you understand this concept. Next, we will move into the next topic. Next topic is that advantages of the friction and disadvantages of the friction. Nothing but is the friction is a necessary evil, which is also known as advantages of the friction and disadvantages of the friction. Let us discuss a few points about the advantages of the friction. Advantages of friction. Disadvantages. Okay. In advantages, the friction helps us to walk on the floor. It is just because of the friction between our foot and the surface which helps us to move on the surface. For suppose if you go to a Himalaya region, there if you just walk with the